Stephen A. I played that Michelle Beadle clip for one reason and one reason only. I'm old enough to remember being on that show and getting in trouble based on some comments you said about women and whether or not they should know their place when it comes to abuse or non-abuse. Ray Rice comes to mind. Not going to get into the details of all of that. But Beadle just came for you yet again, like she did when I worked at ESPN. I wonder, do you have that same smoke for her? That you have for Jasmine Crockett, that you have for Michelle Obama, that you sometimes display for me and Jamel Hill? Do you have that same smoke? I'm sick of it. Keep the same energy. And I call you and I root for you and I say, hey, I got your back, I'm happy for you. But you keep that same energy, sir, for everybody.
Former First Take host Cari put out this video bashing Stephen A. Smith, her former coworker. His response?
You should be ashamed of yourself. You just said, Cari, you called me, you root for me. Why would you root for somebody that called you out in Jamel Hill, who's your good friend? Because it's never happened. Never. I've shown you nothing but love. What are you talking about? You were hired at First Take in large part because of me. You stayed as long as you stayed and had the support of the people that supported you because of me. Do I need to get bosses to confirm that I'm telling the truth? You know I can. When we see the diverse people that come on First Take, black people, women, the list goes on and on. Who did that? That wasn't happening when Skip was there. That was me. What are you talking about? When have I spoken against you? When have I thrown shade against you? When did that happen? That is a lie. Me, dogging Cari Champion? When? And if I did it, why did you call me and root for me? What are you sick of? Or did you just want the attention?
Was a long diatribe going right at Champion. Let's go back for a moment.
ESPN pays him a gazillion dollars
to not work there full time,
to get a lot of stuff wrong and yell, right? And he gets caught playing solitaire during the NBA freaking finals.
The thing that he claims to be a
thing that he's
genius in.
And so instead of he doubles down and he does this. If I'm ESPN, and I get it. You created this monster. He is bigger than you now. And that's exactly your fault and your fault only. You let him run rampant all over that company and put his face on for everybody who's like, oh, he works so hard. I'm going to let you in on a little behind the scenes. He wants to do that. Nobody's asking him. He made you look like fools for handing him a blank check in the first place because he doesn't even give a shit about the stuff that he's paid a gazillion dollars to talk about. And now he's turning around and turning that into a money-making opportunity. Yeah. And the money-making opportunity, turns out it looks like it's a fraudulent crap business to begin with. Honestly, I'm not a religious person, but I pray for the downfall.
Michelle Beadle called out Stephen A. just days ago because he got in bed with a gambling company that is currently under litigation over accusations of false advertising stemming from the use of house bots from 2019 until at least 2023, wrote PokerScout.com's Alex Weldon. He'd continue, having initially denied the factual basis of the claim. Papaya no longer disputes that at one time it pitted human players against computer-controlled adversaries. Some were used to fill tournaments that had insufficient human players, but others were deployed to guarantee a specific outcome, win or lose, for a particular player, even bigger, Now, Stephen A. did respond by saying this. You got some people that were in this business and they talk smack now because they can't get a job in the business because they didn't do a good enough job when they were in the business. So now they got to talk smack and their reputation is they're talking to people. Well, what do you got going on? It's all of that comes with it because somewhere along the way, they didn't do what it took to resonate continuously. And that's why they're on the outside looking in. They don't have a job in the industry. Don't think they don't want one. They do. They just didn't know how to act. And they didn't know how to be productive enough to keep a job. Ridiculous. Furthermore, Smith said, and I quote, some of these podcasts, some of the stuff that you see them saying, they ain't even talking about anything. They're talking about people because they don't have to do real work. They can find a way to get clicks and make money that way because they can't make money any way else. Like he doesn't do the same exact thing with notable figures in sports, politics, and pop culture. But I digress.
But first, let's get into the race play. Because it's right now being painted that Stephen A. Smith, you got some black woman hate. Who's saying that? Well, a black woman is suggesting that in Cari Champion. And the crazy part about that is the irony of Cari Champion, a black woman, saying Stephen A. Smith has black woman hate because he has criticism for black women, which everyone can get criticized, right? And the cost of praise is criticism. It's crazy ironic that she's the one saying it when he hired her to come to First Take ESPN from the Tennis Channel, right? And then she goes and she becomes the host of Sports Nation with me. And then I leave Sports Nation and she stays, and then she does Sports Center coast to coast, and then finally leaves ESPN.
The critiques from Beadle, Champion, and many others stem from this.
But what I've tried to employ the female members of my family, some of who you all met and talked to and what have you, is that, again, and this is what I've done this all my life, let's make sure we don't do anything to provoke wrong actions. Domestic violence or or whatever the case may be, with men putting their hands on women is obviously a very real issue in our society. And I think that just talking about what guys shouldn't do, we got to also make sure that you can do your part to do whatever you can do to try to make sure it doesn't happen. But at the same time, we also have to make sure that we learn as much as we can about elements of provocation. Not that there's real provocation, but the elements of provocation, you got to make sure that you address it, because what we've got to do is do what we can to try to prevent the situations from happening in any way. And I don't think that's broached enough, is all I'm saying.
His comments on Ray Rice. For the Champion response, Smith's most intense response was for his former coworker in Cari Champion. After devoting a few minutes to Michelle Beadle and mostly playing the I don't know her card, he then went in on Champion in much greater detail, wrote awful announcing's Matt Yoder. In typical Stephen A. form, he couldn't enter a rant against a sports media colleague without throwing his weight around about how much power and influence he has at ESPN and being the kingmaker of First Take, where he serves as executive producer along with the face of the entire program. Another paragraph reads, in addition to saying that he was the one largely responsible for hiring Cari Champion, he also made note of her Tennis Channel roots, seemingly wanting to take credit for plucking her from obscurity for the First Take spotlight. It was clear that Stephen A. felt personally betrayed by the comments of Cari Champion. There is not an example that we could find of Stephen A. calling out Cari Champion or being critical of her or her work. However, ironically, in 2018, Stephen A. said that Jamil Hill should stay in her lane when she was involved in a dispute with Donald Trump. Stephen A. has aimed various rants at an uncountable number of people over the years, but it's clear the comments from Champion affected him in a way in which few have before. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.